beautiful Lurgan in the north of Ireland, and as you all know, I've kind of lost my voice, so if you are struggling to hear me, just yell and I'll try to speak up a bit. So as I've gotten older, I've realised how lucky I am to have grown up with confidence and self-belief. I think that this came mainly from my mum, Carrie, and my granny, Audrey. I grew up being told that I was just as good as anyone else, but I wasn't too good to clean a toilet, which translates loosely from our sayings to, you can be whoever you want to be, and do whatever you want to do, but remember where you came from and stay humble. A time in my life where this belief system greatly helped me was when I started Irish dancing. For a bit of background information, usually Irish dancers start at age 3 or 4 and mostly come from a family of dancers. However, at age 9, with no previous experience of dance in my family, I decided I wanted to give it a go. Luckily, one of my best friends, Aidan McGinn's family, ran the McGinn School of Irish Dancing, which is based in one of our local church halls. Unfortunately for me, I came to realise that Irish dancing is taught in lines, with beginners at the very front. My first couple of weeks, I was in the front, surrounded by 3-year-olds, and 9-year-old me was very obviously the odd one out. However, I remember being told by my mum that everyone has to start somewhere, that I had just as much right to be there as anyone else, and to stay at it. So I did, and over the following few months, I started to progress through the lines. And my first fish, which was a competition, soon came around. My granny took me, neither of us having a clue what to expect, were overwhelmed by the dazzling dresses, the bouncing wigs, and the overall sparkle. Once I had danced, my granny decided that I wasn't half bad, thanks granny, and together we convinced my mum to invest in the teen dress. Then in 2018, 5 years after my first Irish dancing class, our school invented dance, which is a team dance intricately choreographed by my dance teachers, performed by 16 girls, all dancing on stage in unison, won first place in the World Championships, which was held that year in Ireland in Killarney Town, where teams from across the world come to compete. As a small dance school from Lurgan, we were the definition of the underdogs. To be part of the very first team to win a globe for the McGinn School, together with a group of girls I came to know as family and had grown up with, is a feeling I will never forget. In Ireland, Céilí dancing, which are team dances, has always been a way to bring a community together. It has been a constant source of escapism through all of the hardships we have faced, such as the famine, the Easter Rising of 1916, and the Troubles. Céilí dancing allowed these people to forget their problems, if only for an hour, and allow themselves to get lost in the rhythm and movement. For me, Irish dancing is something I share with my community. The Céilís that we dance weekly are the very same Céilís my granny danced and her mother before her would have danced. It's a link between generations and a massive part of my culture. In the north of Ireland, phrases such as, they're getting too big for their boots, they think they are someone, and they're getting to be above their stations, would all be used to describe someone who had self-confidence or shared their success with others. Sadly, one of the hardest things for a person from Ireland to do is speak about something they're good at, something they like about themselves, or even share an achievement. In the north of Ireland, self-deprecating humour is very common. Some people would say this stems mainly from the need to say it before anyone else does, almost like a defence mechanism. Let's remember that it was only 50 years ago that signs outside of pubs in England would have said, no dogs, no blacks, no Irish. Personally, I believe this type of humour has a lot to answer for, such as its part to play in the fact that 1/5 of the population suffer from mental health conditions, or that more people have committed suicide since the Troubles than the amount of people who lost their lives during the conflict. This is why I feel so passionately about building the confidence of children and young people in our communities. Only in the last few decades has the opinion of children should be seen and not heard changed. However, even though there are more opportunities for our voices to be heard, without the confidence to speak up and the belief within ourselves that our opinions do matter, can we then make a true difference? Friends Forever has been a massive part of growing my own confidence. It pushed me out of my comfort zone when I first met the group on a residential weekend. I remember on the drive down feeling so nervous I was nearly sick. Fast forward a couple of months to America, they've given me so many opportunities to challenge and express my confidence. My favourite example of this was in Prescott Park, an arts festival, when we all attended a concert, where I ended up dancing on stage in front of strangers. This was massive for me. My wish for the children and young people of our communities is to have the self-belief to achieve great things and the confidence to share these achievements with others. Because once one person begins to achieve, they lift others up with them, as they are proof that success is possible, no matter where you come from. It's just like the butterfly effect, that the beat of a butterfly's wing can cause a tornado, and I plan to be that butterfly. Thank you.